You think life's unfair? Good. It's supposed to be the world doesn't owe you a damn thing. It rewards the strong, not the sorry. While you're crying about how hard it is, someone else is grinding through pain, building something you'll never touch because you're too busy feeling sorry for yourself. Every second you waste complaining, another man is taking your future. Wake up. Nobody's coming to save you. You are the rescue plan. Stand up, fix your face, and get back to work like a man who refuses to lose. You know what separates the winners from the ones who stay stuck forever? It's how they deal with pain. Most people run from it. They feel a bit of discomfort and they quit, they hide, they complain. But pain is the only real teacher that exists. When I was broke, when I had nothing, when the world didn't care whether I lived or died, that pain was the fire that built me. I remember waking up in a freezing apartment with no food, looking at myself in the mirror and saying, nobody's coming to save you. You either become a man now or you'll stay like this forever. That's when I learned what pain really is, a gift. It doesn't destroy you unless you let it. It exposes who you are and what you're made of. Pain is raw truth. It strips you of lies, of weakness, of illusion. When you go through enough of it, you start to see that every setback was training. Every betrayal was sharpening your instincts. Every loss was teaching you how to win properly next time. When I was hustling, sleeping in cars, doing whatever I had to do to survive, I wasn't thinking about comfort. I was thinking about survival, about power, about never being in that position again. Pain taught me how to stay calm when everything around me was chaos. It taught me patience when I wanted to explode. It built my self-control, my focus, my obsession with never going back to that version of me that had nothing. And that's different and that's it, And that's the difference. Most people use pain as a reason to quit. I used it as a reason to grow. The world tested me and I decided I'd never fold. You can't develop real strength in comfort. You can't earn self-respect in ease. Every scar, every sleepless night, every time I felt like giving up, those moments built the man I am. So don't run from pain, chase it, let it mold you into something unstoppable. Because once you felt real struggle and survived it, it's once you felt real struggle and surviving Mr. Sarging. Because once you felt real struggle and survived it, nothing can break you again. That's when you become dangerous, dangerous. You need to understand something very clearly. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody cares that you're tired, that life's unfair, that someone did you wrong. The world doesn't stop spinning because you're hurt. When I was struggling, when I had nothing but a few pounds in my pocket, I realized fast that talking about my problems changed absolutely nothing. I could sit there complaining about how tough life was, or I could get up and do something about it. I chose action because self-pity never made anyone rich, respected, or powerful. When I started out, there were nights I didn't sleep. I was grinding, trying to figure out how to turn my situation around. Nobody helped. Nobody cared. I didn't have someone checking in to make sure I was okay. And that's when it hit me. The world rewards results, not emotions. Nobody's going to pay you for being sad. Nobody's going to promote you because you've been through tough times. They only care about what you can deliver, what value you bring, what results you produce. I remember times when I failed publicly, when people laughed, doubted me, said I wouldn't make it. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself because I knew the only way to shut them up was through results. Every insult became fuel. Every time someone looked down on me, I told myself, good. Keep watching. I didn't waste time explaining why things were hard. I spent every ounce of energy building something that couldn't be ignored. That's how you win. Excuses are like chains. The more you use them, the tighter they wrap around you until you can't move. You keep saying you can't because of this or that, and before you know it, years are gone and you're in the same spot talking about the same problems. You want to be respected, show progress, you want to be powerful, produce outcomes. Don't tell people what you're going to do, make them see it. So stop explaining your pain. Stop seeking sympathy. Nobody's coming to save you, and that's your greatest advantage. Because once you accept that, you realize the power was always yours. Discipline doesn't care about your emotions. That's something I learned the hard way. When I was younger, there were days I didn't want to train, days I didn't want to work, days I wanted to do nothing, but I forced myself to move. Because if you only act when you feel like it, you'll never achieve anything. Your emotions are designed to keep you safe, not successful. They whisper, rest, slow down, take it easy, while your future is slipping away right in front of you. When I was fighting, there were mornings I'd wake up sore, bruised, tired beyond belief. My body screamed to stop. But my mind had already made the decision long before the pain arrived. I was getting up no matter what. That's discipline. It's doing what you said you'd do, even when you don't want to. The fight wasn't just in the ring, it was in my head. Every single day I had to silence that little voice that said, "You've done enough." Because enough is never enough for a man chasing greatness. There were nights when I'd finish training, go home exhausted, and still push myself to study, plan, or strategize for my next move. I didn't feel like it, I was drained. But feelings don't matter when you're building something that's supposed to outlive comfort. The truth is, discipline is freedom. When you master yourself, you stop being controlled by laziness, distraction, and doubt. You become unstoppable because nothing external can shake a man who moves with purpose. People always ask how to stay motivated. You don't. Motivation is temporary. It's weak. Discipline is permanent. Discipline is the backbone of everything strong in this world. You can be broke, tired, angry, but if you have discipline, you'll still make progress. You'll still win when others quit. I didn't get here because I was the most talented. I got here because I refused to negotiate with weakness. Every day I reminded myself that emotion is temporary, but regret lasts forever. You can feel tired for a day, or you can feel regret for a lifetime. So stop listening to your feelings. Do what must be done no matter how you feel, and life will obey your command. I learned early in life that nobody is going to hand you anything. Nobody's going to knock on your door and offer you success, money, or respect. You either build it yourself or you stay invisible forever. When I was broke, I didn't wait for someone to discover me or give me an opportunity. I looked around and realized there were two types of people, the ones who wait and the ones who create. I refused to wait. I started building even when I had nothing but my mind, my will, and my belief that I could not stay average. There were times I worked from sunrise to midnight, not because I was forced to, but because I understood something most people don't. Life rewards builders, not beggars. You can beg for opportunity, you can cry about how unfair it all is, but none of that changes anything. The world doesn't respect words, it respects results. So instead of saying someone should help me, I told myself, I'll make it impossible for them to ignore me. That became my mission. When I had no money, I learned to sell. When I had no platform, I built one. When I had no connections, I created value so strong that people had no choice but to notice. That's how real power is created, not from waiting, but from producing. Every empire started from nothing but a decision. Every success story begins the same way. Someone got tired of waiting and decided to act. I remember people laughing at my early attempts, calling me crazy, saying I was wasting my time. But I knew something they didn't. Effort compounds. Every small action was a brick. Every hour of focus was a wall. And one day those walls became something unshakable. You can't buy that kind of power. You can only build it. You're either constructing your future or complaining about the one you don't have. There's no middle ground. So stop begging for chances. Stop asking for recognition. Stop waiting for the world to notice you. Create something that forces them to. Because when you build with purpose, even your enemies will have to respect your work. Pain can either destroy you or transform you. It's your choice. Most people treat pain like a curse, like something unfair that shouldn't happen to them. But when I look back at my life, every moment that hurt me, built me, every betrayal, every loss, every time I felt like the world was against me, that was the fire that shaped my strength. I didn't grow when things were easy. I grew when everything was collapsing and I had no one to rely on but myself. Pain became my energy source. It made me sharp, disciplined, alert. There were times I had nothing. I remember sitting in silence, staring at the ceiling, realizing that nobody was coming to help me. I could either stay broken, feeling sorry for myself, or I could turn that pain into fuel. So I made it fuel. When people doubted me, it didn't make me weak. It made me obsessed. I used every insult as motivation to keep pushing. When I lost everything, I learned to rebuild from zero. That's how pain transforms you. It strips you down until and December's nothing left except the truth about who you really are. Most people waste pain, they drown in it, complain about it, and wait for it to stop. But pain never really leaves, it just changes form. The only way to beat it is to use it. When I was training, there were days I could barely move, a body aching, mind exhausted. But instead of quitting, I let that pain remind me why I started. Every drop of sweat, every bruise, every struggle, it was all proof that I was still in the fight. Pain became proof that I was alive, that I was evolving. You can't reach greatness without suffering for it. You can't earn respect without scars. The difference between winners and losers isn't that winners avoid pain, it's that they master it. Pain either weakens you or builds you, and that decision is made in your mind long before it ever happens. So when pain comes, and it will, don't curse it, don't run from it, use it, feed off it, turn it into power, and let it remind you that nothing and no one can break a man who's already forged in fire. There was a time in my life when I was moving through the world like prey, reacting to everything, waiting for opportunities, hoping things would get better. That mindset kept me weak. Then one day I realized nobody respects prey. The world isn't kind, it's competitive. You either hunt or you get hunted. That's when everything changed for me. I decided I was done being reactive. I was going to become the predator, the one who moves first, the one who takes what he wants, the one who isn't waiting for permission. When I was broke, the predator mindset is what saved me. I stopped saying, I hope it works, and started saying, I'll make it work. I stopped asking for a chance and created my own. People called it arrogance. I called it survival. I had to become sharper, faster, more focused. Every time I failed, I treated it like training, not tragedy. Predators don't cry when they miss. They reload, they learn, they adapt. That's how I lived. If something went wrong, I didn't waste time feeling sorry for myself. I analyzed, adjusted, and attacked again. The world rewards aggression, not violence, but decisive action. The man who hesitates always loses. I've seen so many people waste years waiting for the right moment. There is no right moment. You create it by moving now, by attacking life like it owes you everything, because in a way it does if you're willing to take it. I learned that success doesn't come to the nice guy sitting quietly in the back. It goes to the man who stands up and takes control. When I walk into any room, I move like I own it. That's not ego, that's presence. That's what happens when you stop playing small and start thinking like a hunter. You start seeing opportunities where others see risk. You start believing that every problem has a solution. Your solution. That's how predators think. And once that mindset clicks, once you stop living like prey and start operating like the hunter you were built to be, life bends to your will. Because predators don't wait for chances, they create them, take them, and never look back. So stop hiding, stop waiting, stop doubting, step into the world like a hunter who already owns the battlefield, and make life submit to your will.